All right, so we're recording now, guys. We are expecting to have Counselor Memhard on the call with us. He is not going to be on video, just so you know. And I talked to him earlier about that, and I said it was fine. I usually have a very strict on video rule for budget and finance, just because I think it's a responsible thing to do. But I am happy to have him participating at all. So I told him, I swear to God, if you knock that over, there are not going to be any treats tonight.
You sure there's only one cat there?
Madam Chair, there are some attendees that may or may, so the Rocky Neck Art Colony will need to be promoted to panelists. And I don't know if Pam, if you know, JJ Bell and Maggie Rosa are also attendees. So I don't know if they plan to talk also. And I will turn my camera on when I have to talk, but had a reaction to my sunscreen. And so my face does not look fantastic.
I am promoting both of them to panelists. I hope they are prepared for that. I do not see Courtney on yet.
Wait, you had her, hold on. Yeah, she's under Rocky Neck Art Colony. You got her, somebody got her.
Okay.
She's in now. Thank you.
Good. All right. Maggie and JJ, I just promoted you to panelist, so you are free to speak when the item on the agenda comes up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Courtney, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
You have the welcome to budget and finance, and then the overall welcome to Rocky Neck. So fun times. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started without Scott. If he joins us later, I will announce his presence. A bit of legal things to do real quick. Consistent with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning certain gatherings such as an in-person meeting of the budget and finance is not possible. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. So I am calling the budget and finance meeting of Thursday, April 22nd to order. With us this evening, we have Counselor McCarthy. Where'd he go? There he is. It's weird Brady Bunch thing going on. All right, Counselor McCarthy is here from the committee. We are expecting Counselor Memhard to sign in, but I don't see him yet, but we're gonna go ahead and move on with the agenda. We will be taking a few things out of order this evening. We are gonna start out with the first item on the agenda, and then we are going to move to item 6. So that way Joe Cahill can, so Joe doesn't have to sit through the entire meeting, and we can get her in and out. She just got back from school vacation. So I'm sure she's got a lot of unpacking and laundry to do. We're going to go ahead and take item number 1, the CPC off-cycle recommendation for City Hall restoration. Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to hand this right over to Pamela Toby, one of the chairs
Okay.
for the CPC, if she wants to introduce it. Thank you, Pam.
Oh, no problem. I can do it. So this is for $1.7 million in the form of a 20-year bond with an annual debt service not to exceed $130,000. This is for fire and electrical system upgrades for City Hall. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I figured JJ and Maggie could probably jump into the specifics.
Yep. If you guys want to give a brief presentation, that would be great.
No, I would just.
Jay, I'm sorry. Real quick. I just want to announce that Counselor Memhard has joined us and will be off camera for the meeting.
Unless you want some real excitement.
No, we don't. Welcome, Counselor Memhard. Go
It's a
ahead,
pleasure to
JJ.
be, a great pleasure to be with you. Hi, JJ.
Hi, Scott, how are you? Nice to see you.
I'm here.
Just to be brief, I just like to point out that this seems to me this work we're talking about for City Hall, it's just the continuation of stuff that the City Hall Restoration Commission has done over the last, almost 20 years. But the time is absolutely ripe to do this now. The fire risk to the building preservation has been totally demonstrated, not only by a study that was done by McKinley Kalsow in 2015, but also by a recent study by Whittier and Dorr done 2018, 2019, both of which pointed out that with the age of this building, with the wood construction and with a chimney-like tower, there's a great risk for a catastrophic fire, and which would not only irreparably damage City Hall, but some of the great treasures that are housed in City Hall, and also be a danger to the neighborhood as well. So I think the risk has been demonstrated. The other thing is we had been working for years with the help of the fire chief and the mayor and Representative Ferranti and Senator Tarr to working with the state, both the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the secretary of A&F to get some funding from the state toward this effort. And this past year, we were able to get that and actually get a check for $1.5 million toward this effort. So that the last accounting that we had done for the cost of this thing was going to be $3.2 million, excluding the information technology part. And that includes contingencies as well. So that when you add the 1.5 million and the 1.7 million, that's the 3.2. It has broad local support. I mean, you can tell by the letters that were written in the CPA application, and also including the mayor, but also just Maggie, both Maggie and I are evidence to the fact that over the last 15 or so years, there's just a real warmth for this building in the city of Gloucester. Interest rates are, although they've increased a little bit since we first put in this application, they're at historically low rates, and we can take advantage of those. The existing CPA bond matures in 2025, and we worked out with John Dunn such that this bond would not actually be taken down until after that bond is paid off. And so that the actually debt service that CPA is paying would be reduced by some $70,000, just so that we wouldn't deplete their funds for other projects in Gloucester. And of course, we've got the 400th anniversary of Gloucester coming up in 2023. That's what I know everybody says, but it's important for everybody. And the last thing is, I think it's actually this year. That's the 150th anniversary of City Hall. It was, and by the way, the City Hall was built in the 1860s, burnt down in 1869, as evidenced by the Jerome Elwell painting. Courtney, you know it well, at the museum. It could happen again. Look at Lorraine Studios and so forth. Could be a disaster. It would not be a great thing for Gloucester. The timing is ripe now. Let's get this thing done.
Thank you. Maggie, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, except to thank JJ for always making a great presentation too.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
Counselors, any questions? Counselor Memhard?
I'm good right now. Thank you very much, JJ. I appreciate the work that you and your committee have put into this. And it certainly seems like a next appropriate step to safeguard this lovely treasure that we have at the heart of our downtown. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yeah, thank you, JJ, for that presentation. I am always in favor of the CPA money going back into city-owned buildings. One question or a couple of questions for John Dunn. John, are you comfortable? I mean, I know we've only done this once since we passed the CPA back in what, 2008, that we've actually borrowed money on this. I've heard recently people talking about repealing the CPA, which would take an election again, but would that turn that into an unfunded liability? And do you have any concerns about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always going to be a concern. You know, I think the fact that the committee has taken a vote to support $1.7 million in a loan order or 130,000 in annual debt service binds the committee, and certainly, you know, it probably is stronger if we, you know, set this up as a standalone loan order as a piece of the funding for the entirety of the project, rather than coming forward with, you know, one single loan order for the entire cost of the project, and then having different revenue sources. I think either way works. This way is probably a bit stronger. My general understanding is that once the CPC has committed to funding a particular loan order, then that commitment stands out there until, or even if the CPA is revoked by local vote. So that would stand out there and still be raised as CPA addition to taxes, even if the entirety of the CPA was revoked by the voters.
But what about the state?
John, by the way, just adding that, I mean, that's totally right what you just said. And that was John McCarthy, Maggie and I were involved the last time around too with the, I think it was a $2.4 million bond and so forth. And that exact same question came up, and that you know, that was the answer. That is, even if CPA goes away, in the unlikely event that it sticks around to the extent of the debt service on outstanding bonds at that time.
Okay, that was my concern. That's why I just wanted to ask the question.
So I'm John Dunn. Can you clarify a little bit more on that? What do you mean by it sticks around? Is it something that the taxpayers are going to pay into until it's paid off?
Get away from this.
Scott, can you mute, please?
All right, so
Thank you.
again, the current structure of the CPA is that it adds 1% to your taxes after an exclusion for $100,000 of residential asset or assessed value. And if we do this, then that, even though the entirety of the CPA would go away. So for example, Kenny, you can correct me, but you know, I think we're budgeting for next year something around $750,000, you know, round numbers. If the CPA was revoked in a citywide vote, then the only thing that would be added for CPA in the years to come would be the $130,000 in debt service to support the loan order. So that's kind of the way it works, Counselor. Is that explanation sufficient?
Yeah, I think so. I'll let you know tomorrow when the outside questions start rolling in. I'm okay with it. It's just, there's people that are worried about where we are with debt service and taxpayer liability, that are concerned about how much they can afford. And so, you know, through conversations with residents, a lot of people have voiced an opinion that maybe we should pause CPA while we're paying for the school. And I have done my best to explain that it doesn't work like that, that it would have to be a complete and utter repeal of it or revoke. And then it would have to go back to a vote to do it again. And it's complicated at best. So the other question that I've received is
Well,
the,
if I could just stop you there for a
Uh-huh.
moment, you know, that bigger overarching question of debt service as a whole and affordability. If you want to schedule a meeting to talk about debt service and impact sometime post-budget, then, you know, I'm more than happy to, you know, consume 45 to 60 minutes of your time in making a presentation to show you where you are, you know, the potential impact of the override vote for the new elementary school and how that kind of all works in. So we can certainly do that. That's not something I'm prepared to do right this very moment, because I have to send you some information that you'd have to digest for a little bit before we even talked about it.
so I think I appreciate that offer, and I will probably take you up on that. I think it might also be beneficial to have that kind of presentation at the beginning of a city council meeting. So everybody can absorb the information. And that way you don't have to do it individually 9 times, or, you know, this way the public, everybody gets your infinite wisdom.
Well, we'll leave the infinite wisdom alone, but the method and the meeting at which the information is presented is completely up to you folks.
All right, I appreciate the offer. I think that would be a fabulous idea, because I imagine it would clear up a ton of misconceptions, and I think that's our biggest challenge as counselors, is to douse those fires of misconception. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any further questions on the CPA agenda item?
No, but thank you very much for those 2 questions and the responses to them. That was helpful.
Yes, thank you. All right, so we are not prepared to vote on this tonight because we don't have a motion. It was for discussion only. John, when do you think you're going to have that loan order?
Well, so again, my biggest concern right now is, you know, even though there's a number floating around out there as to the cost of the entirety of the project, that number was taken from some work that was done early in 2020. So we have asked Doran Whittier to go back and refine that number based on what we know. This is going to be a very complicated project. Complications from the funding source, as JJ had mentioned, we now have a state grant. We have a commitment from the CPC. I have some funds that are available and can be directed at this project in other funds. So there will be cash coming in, and there's the potential, and we just don't have enough information yet that that perhaps some of this infrastructure that's going to go on in the building would be eligible for ARPA funding. So there's still a number of questions that need to be answered. As soon as those questions are reasonably answered, I will bring forward 2 loan orders, one for CPC portion that's being funded, and the balance for the balance of the entirety of the project. And we'll talk about them then. I don't know exactly when that's going to be available. I would think that would be able to wrap this up sometime within the next 60 days.
Okay. So JJ, I'm sure you were aware of that, and that we'll come back to budget and finance as soon as that motion's available, and we will be voting on it then.
Thank you.
You guys have been amazing doing all this work on this building. It's one of my favorite buildings in Gloucester. I just happened to pop out 2 nights ago, and the clouds were amazing. The sky was just beautiful blue, and taking the pictures of that repainted tower, it's phenomenal. I love taking pictures of that building. So I love working in it, and it's just awesome. So thank you guys for your work.
Excellent.
All right. Maggie and JJ, you will not, you are free to go whenever. You're free to stick around if you want to as well. I just ask that you mute your iPad, so that way there's no crazy feedback and noise.
So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Pam.
Pam, you're also, whatever you want to do, you can stick around, you can exit stage left.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna jump off, but thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye, guys.
All right, so the next motion up is community development requesting acceptance of 2 Mass Cultural Council grants, one for Rocky Neck Cultural District in the amount of 77,500. Wow, 75,000 would have been amazing, right? And Downtown Harbor Town Cultural District in the amount of 7,500. So I will turn this over to Jill.
Good evening, Madam Chair, through you to the counselors. So we're excited about this. I think most of you know, but Gloucester is the only community with 2 cultural districts in one community. And this is a grant, the Cultural District Initiative comes around every year. They funded it higher this year, and we're looking specifically for creative initiatives that help the cultural economy recover from the pandemic. So ways that we could help get, artists and cultural institutions outside, or how we can get people to come visit and those types of things. So we put our heads together, and Courtney and myself and a small but mighty group, Maritime Gloucester, KPM Museum, Discover Gloucester, and came up with the Culture Splash. So there'll be 8 Thursdays in the summer, starting July 8th, where we're going to make it a focus on the cultural districts. And one of the most interesting parts to this is that we are working with CADA on their shuttle, and I think I called it the wrong thing in my memo, I apologize, and harbor tours. So there'll be free public transportation between the 2 districts. You can go on the trolley one way and take the boat back if you want. I think that's gonna speak a lot to some of the parking issues that we struggle with in the summer, and that feeling like you can't you don't want to leave your parking space downtown to go over to Rocky Neck. So, and another really cool part, and Courtney was a big piece of this. We are going to engage with performers, artisans, painters, and there'll be one in each, hosted at one of the cultural institutions each of the Thursdays, just to add some more fun. And we're really hoping that this is seen as a safe, fun way to be outside, shop, go to the restaurants, support our amazing economy that's really as always, like we should spend a much more time with our cultural and artistic institutions. I wish it was 75,000, they need it. But we're excited about this. I think it's gonna be fun. I'll let Courtney say a few words and go from there.
Great.
Hi, thanks for having me. And everything Jill's saying, yes. I'm new to my position at Rocky Neck, but it just seemed like this was a great opportunity we didn't want it to pass. So this idea to connect the 2 via shuttle and trolley will make for a fun night. We have Discover Gloucester on board, and Elizabeth and her team will promote this, far and wide. And the idea is to not have a lot of people in one place, but to have people spread out between our neighborhood and downtown. So it's exciting to be able to pay artists to help out and be a part of it, and just bring some life back into my neighborhood and downtown.
Thank you. The fact that you guys worked together instead of independently on this is amazing. I happen to be a member of Rocky Neck Cultural District, or Cultural Group. And I also am part of Local Colors Downtown. So we've been talking a lot about this initiative within our own groups of artists, and we're really grateful. I'm lucky that this is not my full-time pay, and I can't imagine the struggle that has been happening within this group to get back on their feet. You know, I'm really involved with the stuff downtown, you know, trying to help Maritime Gloucester do some stuff, and it's going to be a real struggle for people to stock up enough items and without having that extra pay from last year to cushion that while they're selling this year's stuff. So I'm happy that we're open. I'm happy that you guys are working together. It's just amazing. So Counselor questions, Counselor Memhard.
No questions. Congratulations to both of you and all of you. Courtney, it's lovely to see you after a long time.
Counselor McCarthy.
No questions. Sounds great to me, and I won't need the shuttle or the boat. I can just walk down the hill, so.
Yes, but when you want to go downtown, you can take the boat or the shuttle downtown and not have to worry about your car.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure you've got special parking privileges at the police department, though. So I looked at the breakdown of the grant. So there's 4 key areas that are going out for payments, and salaries, artists, Discover Gloucester, and transportation. I think it's really nice too that we're not just covering one area. We're not just looking at the artists. We're looking at like the transportation, CADA, and it's not the water shuttle, it's the other one.
Harbor Tours.
Harbor Tours. Thank you.
I got it wrong too in the memo, so I apologize.
Well, that's stuck in my head. That we're, you know, that there's a lot of different benefits for this. So thank you to Mass Cultural Council for the funding of it. And thank you guys for spearheading and really putting a lot of thought behind how to maximize this. So happy to help out wherever I can, especially on the downtown side. You have Courtney on the Rocky Neck side, so I don't think I'll need to get involved over there, but if you need any help on the downtown side, please let me know.
Thank you. And one quick thing, just plug for everyone, so everyone knows. Obviously, the focus of this is it's Culture Splash, so it's to bring attention to our cultural assets. But of course, we're engaging with all the restaurants. So we are sending in a memo or a survey that probably went out Monday or something like that. Anyway, we're asking people to just promise to stay open till 8 because the shuttle's 4 to 8. And we are trying to find ways to partner with people who aren't on the route. So if there are folks in Magnolia, Lanesville, you know, local musicians who don't necessarily have a spot, you know, per se, but want to participate, they have that option too. So if they don't get the survey is going out through Discover Gloucester, Rocky Neck, kind of everyone we can get our hands on. I will send it out to the city council as well. So just help spread the word, because we really do want to extend this beyond just the 2 districts, but we can't, if we send the trolley over the Cup Bridge, they never come back. So we have to keep them on this side.
No, I mean, is there going to be, I hesitate to even say, is there going to be a map? Because I mean, the reason why they're not included is that they're not part of the cultural district. Like I feel for Magnolia and Lanesville, but at the same time, like this is very specific money from a group that, you know, we're only getting it because of our cultural district. So
right. There is going to be a map. There's going to be like the Winter Lights project that Discover Gloucester did with the map. So similar digital interactive map. And yes, the theory is one of the theories that we have is that if it's an artist whose studio happens to be in Lanesville and they maybe want to partner with a cultural institution to show that night, that's the type of partnerships that we're hoping for. So the map will be of kind of where the highlights are for each week and all the participating organizations. So and like I said, it'll include restaurants and retail and studios, and hopefully everyone will want to participate.
Yes, I agree. And that's something that we've been challenged with at Local Colors. We actually stay open till 6, whereas some of the other downtown areas only stay up until 5. And we see a lot of foot traffic between 5 and 6 because people are waiting for their dinner reservations or, so I mean, it's beneficial, but I understand that people can only do so much with what they have. So, like I said, you guys are doing an amazing job with this small amount of money. So, I'm fine justifying the fact that we can't include everybody and everything. So, all right. Any further questions on this? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read a motion. I recommend that the city council accept a state grant under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for an FY21 Cultural District Initiative Grant in the amount of $7,500 for the purpose of supporting the Rocky Neck Cultural District and financial assistance to support personal marketing, artist stipends, and free public transportation for summer Thursday evening cultural experiences located in the Rocky Neck Cultural District and downtown Harbor Town Cultural District. All right, who's not muted? How did I? Okay. The grant period of the grant is from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. And there's no local match for this grant, and I so move.
I'm pleased to second this. Thank you.
Further discussion. Jill, you said that there's no match for the grant, but is the city putting in 2,000 per?
Yeah, so the city, thank you, City Council and Mayor's Office funds the cultural districts each year at 4,000 each. So we intend to spend that money this year.
We like that.
It often, but when I first started, it would go untouched just because I think Rocky Neck wasn't used to working with the city and Kenny's very familiar with this, and John.
I don't,
and same with
roll eyes.
And Harbor Town just doesn't really, we're still working on getting that nucleus. Anyway, so unfortunately the money has gone unspent in some previous years, but it will not this year.
Sweet. Thank you very much. All right. Roll call vote. Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Cox. Yes. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. All right. Next motion. I recommend the city council accept a state grant under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for an FY21 Cultural District Initiative Grant in the amount of $7,500. And I so move.
Second.
I truncated that because we just read the whole thing on the first one, so it's all the same. All right. And you don't see a problem in spending this by June 30th, 2021, right? Because that's just 2 months away.
Yeah, we and they, we had to work with the Cultural Council. They understand the schedule, and yeah, we're set.
Okay. I know I'm going to get a question tomorrow that says, well, if it's not going to start until July 8th, how do you spend the money? So
yeah. Well, and so because so much of it is actually happens in advance, right? The marketing and the planning.
Marketing's probably already done.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
and you'll see us in the Discover Gloucester guide this year. So
I can't wait. A friend of mine got the cover this year. I'm very excited. Can't wait to see it. All right. Roll call vote. Council Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Cox. Yes. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. So thank you, both of you, for sticking around through all the craziness. And then Jill, welcome back to town.
thank you, and thank you for taking us out of order. I would like to go to bed now.
I'm pretty sure you have laundry first, but
Yes,
or at
laundry.
least feed your kids, not ice cream.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye, Courtney.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So where are we at? Where's my agenda? So item number 2, DPW Director SBT number 3 in the amount of $6,842.82. Very specific amount. Hello, Mr. Dunn. We missed you last meeting, by the way.
Oh, well, I missed you. So I had the opportunity of trying to log on from the flattest state in the Union, Delaware, or to go to a movie with my daughter, my wife, and my grandkids.
I'm pretty sure you made the wiser choice.
I did.
Made the right decision, John.
So anyway, this is, we had a situation where it had been building for years, but became much more exacerbated last year, where managers had excessive vacation time, and we're having to carry it from one year to the other, and it was becoming a bit of an issue. So the decision was made to buy back up to 2 weeks of that excessive vacation time from managers. And then whatever was left that could not legitimately be carried forward was going to be put out there on a use it or lose it basis. So if you didn't use it by June 30, you lost that excess. For the most part, the vacation buyback for I think I don't recall the exact number, but it was maybe 12, 13, 14, 15 folks was absorbed within the regular departmental operating budgets. The DPW admin was kind of the exception. As you probably know, DPW admin is the smallest relative department within DPW, and they really don't have the room to take that type of temporary hit. They're budgeted to the penny. So when it was paid out legitimately from the appropriate lines. And we're just backfilling that. And in order to do that, we have to go to one of the other DPW departments that has a fair amount of budgetary funds available to cover this. So that's what this is. You don't see it in the other cases because it was all able to be absorbed within the departmental budgets, in large part because most of those departments had vacancies that hadn't been filled. Again, part of what exacerbated this excess of vacation time that could not be taken. So again, the decision was made. The decks will be cleared by June 30 on the excessive vacation. Everybody has been informed that this was a one-timer. Again, we're going back to if you don't use it, you're going to lose it each year because you can only carry forward a certain amount that you're entitled to.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate that. And with not having you or Mike Hale present last week, our last meeting, we decided to continue this, and I'm glad we did because I was not getting that from the paperwork. So it's much easier to understand when you tell us what's going on.
Not a problem.
All right. Any questions from the council? Councilman Hard?
John, can you go back retroactively? I had a couple 100 days when I left.
Yeah, we asked that question, John, but the answer was no.
Unfortunately, John, it didn't work for the police department. It's just the DPW. Sorry. We addressed it. We'll address the police department next month. So maybe try that.
Yeah, send me a memo, counselor.
All right. As a counselor, why don't we get 2 weeks of vacation? We should work on that. That should be our next campaign rally,
Well, technically, as an elected official, whether it's the mayor or the council, you can take an entire year off.
I know. I feel like we need to
You will just have to answer constituents at the next November election.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking my vacation this year. And it's not a year, it's only a month. So,
Yep.
All right. Any further questions on the DPW All right, so. I recommend the city council approve special budgetary transfer number 3 in the amount of $6,842.82 from the DPW public service salaries to DPW admin salaries for the purpose of funding a deficit in the salaries account. And I so move.
Second,
Further discussion, seeing none, roll call vote. Counselor Memhard,
yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Cox, yes. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And then we have the 2 items for the veterans. Chris, John. And it's a donation, so I don't need either one of you if there's no objection.
Yeah. Again, these are just donations that that Adam receives on a regular basis and brings forward. You know, my understanding is that he'll just kind of, you know, put donations aside for a little bit and then bring them forward to as he gets more than one. So that's what these are. Again, you know, we're happy to have these donations from these people. And businesses that come forward and support what Adam is doing. And it's just a very nice, you know, extra source of revenue for him to do his work.
Yes, I agree. Next time, let's consolidate them into one motion. Nobody wants to hear me talk this much. All right, without objection, I'll go ahead and read the motions. Counselors, any questions? Okay. I recommend the city council accept a cash donation under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A to support Cape Ann Veterans Services in the amount of $200 from the following member within our community, Ronald and Beverly Texera, in the amount of $200. And I so move.
Seconded,
Further discussion, seeing none, roll call vote. Councilor Memhard,
yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes, thank you, Ron and Beverly, for that donation.
Councilor Cox, yes, thank you very much for the donation, and motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, I recommend city council accept a cash donation under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A to support Cape Ann Veterans Services in the amount of $45 from the following members within our community. Janet and Gregory Lemha, $25, John and Randy Pata, $20 for a total of $45. And I so move.
Second,
Further discussion, seeing none, roll call vote. Council Memhard,
yes.
Council McCarthy,
Yes, thank you.
Councilor Cox, yes, thank you. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. All right. Public Health Director requesting acceptance of COVID-19 response award in the amount of $14,705.88. So they have their meeting tonight. So there's no one here to speak to it. And I have a ton of questions as to the packet and the application was actually very informative on how they're going to split this out. So I do appreciate that. And I will probably reach out to Karen directly with my other questions that won't impact tonight's vote. Do any of you have a question regarding
No.
this?
No, I read the packet through and it's very detailed in the expenses itemized, so I don't have any problem going in accepting.
Okay.
And I agree in full.
Okay. All right. I am going to go ahead and read the motion then. I recommend the city council accept under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, a state grant from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Department of Public Health in the amount of $14,705.88 for the purpose in responding to the COVID-19 outbreak, including vaccination efforts to cover expenses incurred after January 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2021. There is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second,
Okay. Any further questions? Seeing none, roll call vote. Counselor Memhard,
yes.
Counselor McCarthy,
Yes.
Counselor Cox, I almost forgot to vote. Yes. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. I do appreciate the fact that this grant came with very detailed specifics on how it was going to be allocated, because in the past, we've just accepted a lot of money and weren't really sure where it was going. And that was understandable in that first year of the craziness. Is the faster we could get it in, the faster they could apply it to the needs that were out there. So I would like to circle back at some point to go through what we've received in grants and find out how they were allocated. I think that would be very beneficial to see if other monies from the budget from last year can be reallocated to other deficits in our budget. So anyway, budget time's coming up, so that should be fun. We received a memo. There's no one really here to talk about this. So we received a memo from the Stage Park Advisory Committee. I forwarded that to Mr. Hale because I really don't believe we should be in the middle of this. I find it's a conflict for the council to try to intervene in this issue. I think the departments that it was intended to be in front of have handled it at the best that they can. So, I don't know what action, if any, or if anybody has questions about this memo. Counselor Memhard?
Excuse me, I concur with you, and I don't have any further questions at this time. No.
Okay. Counselor McCarthy?
No, I mean, I did read through what they said, and it seems to be a, CPA and DPW and Mayor's Department administration issue. And,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that would come to us is approval for any of those funds, I would think.
Right. And I do appreciate the information, and had I been able to attend the last city council meeting, I would have pulled this from the agenda and not had it forwarded to us, just because it's not necessary. So missed opportunity there. Moving on to item number 8, city auditor. Hello, Kenny.
Good evening. I trust everybody received the report. There's 18 items in the report. One new item related to fire overtime callbacks. And there's 3 resolved items. All the other items are repeats. So nothing major from the last report. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Counselor Memhard?
Thank you, Kenny. I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor McCarthy?
Kenny, on that fire, does that mean that they're out of money in that line item and that's going to continue to grow for to the end of the budget cycle?
Actually, the fire overtime callbacks, that's actually related to the vaccine efforts. So we're actually going to we just received the journal entry to move those expenses over to the vaccine revolving fund. So I think that you'll be seeing a lag. We'll be expending the funds, and then we'll be journalizing those expenses over as they're being incurred. So I would say expect to see that between now and then, but it'll be cured soon thereafter.
Great.
All right. Anything further for the committee of
One thing,
the?
Melissa, if
Yep.
I may, through the chair. Last city council meeting last week, I asked for an update on the marijuana licenses and funding, and I was given a number, and I'm wondering, John, sometime maybe after the budget cycle, if you maybe can present, it looks like the money's starting to come in large quantities now, and I know it's restricted and dedicated uses, mandated uses by statute. So maybe at some point you can update us on how that is put back into what it's required to be put back into.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. In fact, we're trying to develop that right now. As you probably know, there was a tremendous amount of time and effort put on the front end before we even signed the first HCA. So we're in the process now of trying to determine and identify all of those meetings, all of the people who are involved in those meetings, all of the emails back and forth, the phone calls, the memos, and then the ongoing work once it came up of the building inspector, police, fire inspections, going through and making recommendations. So yeah, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, Counselor, in terms of identifying all of the expenses. So it's probably not something that will follow very quickly after the budget process, but certainly it's something that we should have identified by midsummer.
Thank you, John.
John, I have a question for you on that subject matter. There were communities that had impact fees and charitable donations, and they were thrown out in court. Is that a possibility with us, or I thought they were overturned, that was coercion?
Well, my understanding is the issues that arose regarding that, particularly the charitable donations, were because the local municipality was making that a requirement of the HCA.
Okay.
In our case, those charitable donations had been volunteered by the folks asking for the permit. Now, I know there can be a fine line there, but clearly in our case, we had heard that was an issue. We were not going to ask for that. We were not going to put it on the table. Certainly, if they put it on the table, we were going to say, go ahead, and you make your own decisions as to what and who those charitable organizations are. We're not going to tell you where it has to go. I think that was the other thing that came up in the legal action that you referenced, Counselor, was that the city or town was actually directing the applicant as to where to send the charitable donation.
So at any time they could stop doing the charitable donation on ours because it's at their will, not part of the agreement?
Well, it's in the HCA, but I would think, subject to, to asking, legal advice, I would say that that's not enforceable by us.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I was concerned about that as it was kind of hitting ahead over the last month.
Yeah, no, fortunately we were aware of that as being a potential toe stubber. So we dealt with it that way.
Yeah. And thank you, Councilor McCarthy, for bringing up that question and getting this information, because it definitely connected to other things that are going on. So I appreciate you leading the charge in that.
Ditto. Thank you, John. Thank you.
All right. Anything else from the committee? Everybody's cleared their calendar for budget time. A couple Wednesdays in May. We knock it out of the park like we did last year. Thank God for Zoom.
Oh, I was planning on taking Wednesdays off for the balance of the calendar year.
Yeah, go
Wednesday
ahead, John.
is my day off, John, and I'm spending it with you. And I'm not getting lunch out of it anymore. So you're stuck
Well,
with
that is true. I can send you lunch. So tell me what you want and we'll have something delivered.
Sushi?
That's fine.
Oh, sweet. Okay. All right. We just can't gather in groups of more than 100 inside right now, right? So yeah, you really want to do it in person, I'm sure we can arrange it.
We can go to a park if you want to do them down at a park.
My luck, it'll rain every Wednesday.
Yeah.
They still iffy around here.
Or snow, apparently, like it did today.
Well, maybe we can do it on John's boat.
I like it. Can we do it out in international water? Would that be a problem?
That would be fine. In fact, we could do it when he's underway, and therefore we've got natural ventilation.
So does that mean we can expense the fuel? This is really going off the rails. Look at Kenny.
Mileage, Kenny, mileage.
Get a purchase order. Good
I
luck.
make a motion to adjourn before we get into trouble here.
All right, fine. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second,
Second,
John? All right, roll call vote. Counselor Memhard,
Sounded to me like our second was at C, but yes.
yeah. Counselor McCarthy
yes.
and Counselor Cox. Yes, thank you all. Have a very good evening.
Okay.
Good night,
take
everybody.
care.
Bye.